How you doing, guys and gals? This is Doug Wilson from Yellowhawk Custom Kydex. Thanks for tuning in. I think on this video, we're going to show you some stuff about kukris. I got my my buddy Bob here again. This sign here was made by Jim Burnett. It was a gift to me for Yellowhawk Custom Shop. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. So back to Bob, okay? We're going to, or he is going to, because I don't know it, give you a history about kukris. This is going to be just a short, concise history about kukris, how they're made, the steels that they're made of, things like that, okay? So this is what we're looking at. These are the kukris here. So, if you guys stay tuned, we'll get right to it. We'll be right back. Okay guys, so we're back, and this video is going to be about kukris, and I'm just going to turn it over to Bob because he knows a hell of a lot more about kukris than I do.
How you guys doing? And gals, we don't want to exclude you. Tonight I'm going to talk just a little bit of an overview of kukris. What I have in front of me is a small collection of a larger collection that I have tucked away in a storage area, which I can't get to. One day I'll clean it up. But anyway, I just want to give you a little brief history, the blade style, how it came about, the uses, and so forth and so on. And then, excuse me, sometime down the road we're going to do a second video using the kukri and its uses as it pertains to bushcrafting, camping, and so forth. Right now it's about 7, 8 o'clock at night here in Pennsylvania, so we're not going outside. Anyway, one thing before I get started, I examine all of Doug's videos, and they always have a thumbs up and a thumbs down, you know. And it appears to me that the same 2 or 3 people always have a thumbs down. They got to be the same guys, because every video has a number of thumbs up, and it's the same 2 or 3 thumbs down. I was doing a little detective work. That's all I got to say. Anyway, a long time ago, about the 18th century, middle or early...
Bob's good at detective work, trust me.
The middle of the 18th...
He'll find out who they are.
I will. The middle of the 18th century or so, to 1700s, or whatever, England was, of course, colonizing. They came to the United States. They were in parts of Africa, the Middle East. They went into Japan, China, Vietnam, what we know now as Vietnam, China, and also into India. And when their troops got into India, they pretty much took the place over quite easily, until they came upon the Nepalese, and that, as we know, as the soldiers are now the Gurkhas. And in Nepal, they suffered a couple of defeats. The British suffered a couple of defeats at the hands of the Nepalese, and rather than joining them, they coerced the Nepalese to join the British Empire, and that was to take in units or groups of what we now call Gurkha into their army and use them as kind of pseudo mercenaries. They were respected for their prowess at fighting, for their simplicity, for their doggedness, their ability to just make fun of anything that came about. There is a story in World War I where there was a Gurkha machine gun nest that was taking out the Germans, and there was only about 5 or 6 of the Gurkha they were gunners, right? And one got shot, and then another one got shot, and they started taking bets who was going to be shot next. I mean, this is the kind of guys you're dealing with. And then talking about their physical prowess, there's a story about a Gurkha that got a musket misfired, hit his brow of his head, bounced off his head, and killed an English officer standing next to him. So, I don't know how much of these stories are true or they're fables, but, these guys are supposedly tough little guys. And my friend Nico Bear, who is in England, gave me some heads up about them and about the kukri itself. And I'll talk about that later. At the time of Alexander the Great, As you all watched 300 Spartans and everything, and he was a little bit before them. There was a curved fighting knife. Some people call it a scimitar. Some people called it a kopis. Some called it the Egyptians had a kodesh. And they seem to think that Alexander, as his empire expanded, and he went into India and he went into the Himalayas, okay? And as a matter of fact, they went into the mountains, and at his death, his generals split up and they divided his kingdom up among them. And if you look at a kopis, which is a Greek fighting weapon, it is curved just like the kukri. And some say that was the beginning of the kukri. Others say that they always had the kukri, and maybe the Greeks copied it from then. Who knows? What came first, the chicken or the egg? Antiquity. They're finding new things every day in archaeological digs, and history's being rewritten all the time. So I don't always base everything I hear or see or read on absolute fact. Because there will always be
somebody's going to prove you wrong.
Absolutely, or not just wrong, or to change the whole environment of what we.
They're going to turn it all upside down.
What we think today is right is tomorrow may be not the right. Okay, so anyway, I like to talk a little bit about this. Is an officer's kukri, which I gave to Doug, and very pretty blade, huh?
It's sharp as hell.
It's very sharp. Okay, you'll find this is a little smaller. The Gurkhas themselves are small statured people. They have small hands, and that's why you'll find some of the handles are small. Okay, these, according to Nico Bear, my friend, the military type kukri is usually made out of Mercedes-Benz spring steel. Okay, almost exclusively. They are differentially treated, heat treated, according to what they're going to be used for. What maker makes them, so they're tempered in different ways. Also, they are sometimes sharpened in different ways. Sometimes at the base you'll see it maybe a flat grind here, and up here you might see a Scandi type or a convex type grind on where it's going to be chopping. Okay, the weight behind is anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to about 3/16 to 1/8 of an inch. So this is an officer's kukri. And this is a bone handle, and sometimes what they do, these are rat tails or stubby rat tails on these weapons, and sometimes this is bone. This is horn. This is a buffalo horn.
Right.
And what they will do is sometimes they will heat up that tip or that tang, and they'll burn it into the bone or they'll burn it into the wood. They sometimes use a gummy glue type substance, which they will put inside also to fixate the tang to the handle. They will also peen here, in the back of the handle. This one's been peened, I think,
right, with
a copper base, and they'll bang it down with a peening hammer to lock it in also. These they're pretty stable. They're brass fittings. They're a very, very stable handle.
Yeah.
And according to Nico, he's never seen one actually break.
Yeah,
come apart.
I've had this one for 4 or 5 years now.
A couple of years, right?
And I beat the piss out of it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty strong handle.
So anyway, a lot of people talk about this Koo here. The Koo, C-H-O, is what it's called. Okay. Some people think that it's a religious symbol of Shiva, who is the goddess of war. That's part of her trident. Okay. According to Nico, he said that this is cut out of here to give the blade tensile strength. He said because it's a break point where the blade can bend and give and so forth and so on. He also said that if there's blood or water runs down, it doesn't go into the handle. It'll dissipate right here. Okay, so there's a functional form for this cutting out. It has a small fuller, as you can see. Okay, and everybody used to say the fuller was used so that you can get stuck in the guy you were sticking and
call it a blood groove.
Yeah, blood groove or whatever, and there was air, you could pull it out. Okay, so you can watch the guy bleed to death. All right. The traditional ones are the sheaths are made out. There's a wood in here, and this is buffalo hide or bull hide covered, and usually they
water buffalo hide.
Water buffalo hide. Usually they cover them, they wax them. Doug hasn't done that yet. They clean up the brass. Okay.
I like it traditional.
Okay. The other thing is it comes with 2 little knives. Okay. One has a flat grind edge on it. Okay, and the other one is not. It's like around it. It's for burnishing the blade or trying to sharpen the blade. This one has a little bit more of an edge than this one. They're kind of useless. I don't know how to use them. I throw them away because they don't work for me. You can replace them with something else, a steel or ceramic.
Yeah, there are
or
more
whatever.
efficient ways to sharpen that blade.
So, and one of the ways of sharpening this blade is just like you would sharpen an axe, this way. You can take a steel, you can take a file. I use a bastard file sometimes, okay, and you can strop this blade, okay, rather than moving it across this way, you know. You can do it that way. I've seen guys use sandpaper, different grades of sandpaper, to bring up the edge on the kukri. But for the most part, I take a steel or a ceramic, and Doug's loading a steel up for me right now.
This is an easy lap.
An easy lap.
Diamond steel.
I have one of these, and basically come across like so, just like so. Take it all the way out, okay, and then maybe take a ceramic over top of it, okay, and then do the same thing to the other side. It's good to learn how to be left or right-handed when using a knife, okay. I'm predominantly left-handed, okay, and in one film you see me sharpening my kukri, October of last year when we were at the shelter that we froze our rear ends at. Okay,
was cold.
We weren't freezing our ends off.
That trip was cold. I haven't been that cold in a long time.
I was real cold, man. I'm telling
and
you,
I'm
it was
used
real
to cold
cold
weather, man.
Yeah,
but,
it was.
woo.
And when you throw your urine out the front of the thing and it freezes in midair, it's cold. Okay.
Guys are waking up in the morning slipping on his piss.
Hey man, I'm not getting that.
Oh,
We're all
my
coming down
God.
with cramps and everything. It was crazy.
Oh, that is
all
so
right.
common.
So to get back to the kukri, okay. I have one that was from the Gurkha Army, or actually the Gurkha Police, and I have one from the Gurkha Army as an officer's model. It's a little bigger than this one, and I had problems with the tang. It was a wooden type handle, and it actually cracked. Okay, I had my father. He removed the whole handle. Excuse me. The thread at the end of the tang, put a bolt on it, threaded another piece to make it longer,
Right.
and threaded it into the bolt. They put lock seal on it or whatever.
Loctite.
Loctite, yeah. And then he got a new handle from Atlanta Cutlery,
Yeah.
which has all the Gurkha
It's
stuff.
beautiful.
Okay,
He did a great
and
job.
he puts it together. I forgot to bring it, so I'll show it to you another time. But anyway, my first kukri was from Atlanta Cutlery back in 1983, and that was the Indian type. They're made in India. Okay, this is made in Nepal. This is made in Nepal. Okay, they now make full tang knives. They go in anywhere ranges. They go from 5 to 6 inches to 8 inches. I like 8 inches as a working knife. It's just this one here is 8 inches. Okay, my other one is an 8-inch knife, and usually they're around 10 to 11 inches, maybe 12.
This one's 3/8 inches thick.
Yeah.
This thing is.
Yeah, and it's not heavy either. I mean, it's really truly not heavy.
Yeah, these are smaller kukris.
These knives want to chop. They have mass, they have inertia, and they have weight, and it's all to the front. And if you can't get a better chopping tool, another thing you can do with these is you can dig with them. Okay, you can dig like a spade, you can shovel, whatever. And if you get two guys side by side digging pulling dirt this way to build a trench, fighting in a trench or whatever, you can get the work done pretty quickly. Okay, sometimes they have a butt plate on them. This one does not. Okay, as you can see, but it is a full tang. These have this one has copper on the inserts for these pins that go through
It's a huge hand.
so it's locked in. And according to my friend Nico, he said that when you see this type of rounding here, this rondelle on the handle, it splays your hands to hold this kukri the correct way. Sometimes they come up here on the thumb like so. All right, and it just keeps your hands locked there. And the use of this kukri is not always like this from the elbow, but in the wrist. If you're going to chop, you can chop, just like a chef's knife. Okay, you can roll and rock with this knife in the front of the blade. You can stab with it. There's a point enough to be able to stab, and if you want to take a file and knock this down to have a false edge, you could. Okay, here I found that the base of these are usually very thinner and sharper than the end of the blade, and this is for your smaller work. If you want to do some peeling,
Like
you want to do some you want to do fire sticking, whatever, or if you want to draw this, say you're making arrows, okay,
Right,
say you're making spear and you use it as a draw knife, okay, you can hammer with it, You can bang with it, bang, bang, bang. You can bang this way with it, flat. All right. My friend Nico says this is probably the Swiss Army knife of the Nepalese people, and he says you won't if you're going to carry one knife for anything and all things. This is it.
Alan Kay won the Alone TV series with one of these.
That I'll show you the knife he used.
You know, it takes a lot of practice to master a kukri. I haven't mastered one. I'm okay at it, but I'm telling you, when you master this weapon, this tool, you got it going on because it can do a lot.
It's in the Falklands, when the Argentines, as the British say, and you see I'm wearing my British camo here, desert camo. As the Argentines took on the Gurkha regiments, the Gurkhas snuck in and took off the head and put the head on a guy, just set it there, and the next morning the whole regiment surrendered because the guy shook his buddy, his head fell off, and he knew he was against the Gurkhas. Okay, so there were some tough SOBs, all right, and they're very simple, very happy, very very kind people, and they're great warriors. They're just great warriors. Okay, now that's what I got. So the other thing is, this is the kukri. I just purchased this. This is the one made in El Salvador by Condor that Alan Kay won the Alone series with. Beautiful kukri, simplicity at its best. Okay, blade forward. I just bang. It just wants to go. It wants to cut. Okay, it's just there. Okay, comes from the wrist and from the elbow here. Okay, you have upward cuts, back. Whatever. It's an excellent knife. Okay. A little bit of variations on the theme. Okay, I have to rush here because he says I got some time. This is a huge monster I got from North Carolina. This is 1095 tool steel, 1/4 inch across the back, and if you don't need an axe when you have this. Okay, you don't need an axe when you have one of the 10-inchers either.
Yeah,
all right?
they chop wood very well.
They do well. Okay. Also, this is a D2 tool steel from some Kydex sheath. I don't know who made it. Anyway, as you can see, it's another variation. Okay, it's got a nice spine here for batoning if you want to. I found this knife to be a little light in its batoning and in chopping, not like the weighted ones, the original weighted ones, but it's a good fighting knife. Okay, it's a good sticker. I got a good pommel on the back that I can nail somebody with, and so on. All right, and then as you go away from that design, you get more into the kind of reverse curve type of knife. I brought this along just to show it too. It also has the kukri or the kopis, the Greek fighting knife influence. The long belly, almost like a bolo type of knife for macheting, whatever. It's a little thinner on the back. This was handmade in Colorado. All right. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was short and fast and ugly. We'll come back on a second one, and we'll put them out in the field, and we'll show you how they work. Thank you very much, and see you sometime later.
All right, guys, it's Doug Wilson for Yellow Hawk Custom Kydex. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Myself and my buddy.
Out.